I know. To me, I know what you're saying. You just wish we could put Storm after Julian's name as well. That's not a deck in Standard. Yet.
Oh. Let's see those ether
man.
flux reservoirs.
Turbodepth's humans, we see some swingy matchups for both our Storm players. Might come down to Standard unless one of those two can break. Bobby's hat game's on point.
Now, Storm versus humans, when humans kind of first showed up, the situation was Storm was just ice cold and meddling mage. We've seen some innovation. The Storm players started to play some number of main deck lightning bolts. Sometimes we've seen both Paul and Caleb playing an unsubstantiate.
There we go. They have that one. No
Okay.
lightning bolts.
Looks like a repeal is available as well.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of play there, though it is still a very tough matchup.
Paul's registered. Speaking of Dominaria, he's got a precognition field in the sideboard.
Okay.
Yeah. That one's nice. You know what it does?
Vaguely, it's blue and
three
three,
and a blue-
and
three and a blue.
you can cast instants and sorceries if they're on top of your deck.
Yeah. And for
And
3 mana, you can exile the top card of your deck. That's it.
Powerful magic is afoot.
That's actually could be a pretty good card in this deck. I mean, at the top of your deck just it keeps being pyretic rituals. This is broken. You just keep casting them.
So I have a question
What if it's
for
all,
you.
yeah?
Is this card like it's kind of like another Gifts Ungiven, because if you do that, usually you just win, right?
Yeah.
So is this card better than just putting a Merchant Scroll in your deck?
Yeah, against a Rest in Peace it would be.
Sure. All right, I buy that.
Turn 1 Gitaxian Probe from Caleb. He looks at Bobby's hand. Bobby on a mulligan to 6. We will look at it too. 2 Elvish Spirit Guides. We have a Urborg, a Lotus Petal, a Vampire Hexmage.
So this
And
hand,
then, yeah, hold on.
this is set up to make a Merit Lage on turn 2. So you have the Sylvan Scrying here. You can use either Elvish Spirit Guide or the
Right.
Lotus Petal plus the Urborg to go find Dark Depths, and the next turn you can play Dark Depths, cast Hexmage, make it 20/20. The thing
Yeah.
about it, this hand doesn't have a Duress, doesn't have a Thoughtseize, and Caleb's deck is on average fast enough to beat that.
So that means it's actually, so Caleb will go turn 1, Bobby will turn 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
The combo's not about to, it's about to not exist anymore.
Cabal Therapy, maybe naming Elvish Spirit Guide?
I would no, because of the Lotus Petal and any land makes it so they
Oh,
can combo.
yeah.
You gotta grab either the Hexmage or the Sylvan Scrying. You would like to him to Turakier, but it's just not going to do enough. It's also Urborg, so that if you Urborg, Petal, go find Dark Depths, you can still cast the Hexmage. So you got to take one of those cards.
Against this current hand, Caleb, before pre-therapy, he needs to win on turn 3 because Bobby will make a 20/20 on turn 2 and then attack on his third turn.
Yeah.
So if he cannot win on turn 3, he must slow Bobby down. And he actually named Elvish Spirit Guide. Why not?
I am concerned about that name. Now, it's possible Caleb just has a turn 2 or a turn 3 win here, and it doesn't matter.
You're not sure that that Spirit Guide matters.
But we're going to go Sylvan Scrying for Dark Depths, and Urborg means that you can
Yeah.
just cast the Hexmage still.
No, Caleb knew about this line. This line is independent of the card Bobby drew, so I assume he has a solution.
I mean, the best solution is just winning on turn 2.
Yeah, if that's true, you can therapy whatever you want.
Yeah.
Gitaxian Probe from Caleb down to 16. 2 Hex Mages. Let's draw another therapy.
Yeah, I'd like to therapy those ones. There's at least a Lion's Eye Diamond available for Caleb. I believe an Infernal Tutor in the holdings. So it's only a very small number of things you need in addition to that to have a turn 2
Caleb
win.
is moving at a speed where I would be concerned from Bobby's spot. He knows exactly what he wants to be doing.
It's fast enough to me the line is obvious, but it might just be obvious in like the way that you cast Infernal Tutor on turn 2 to set up for turn 3. But a turn 3 should be good enough here.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, he has to win on turn 3. Here's Brainstorm. He cracked the fetch first. Wants to hit therapy. Fetch land. Duress, that's a blank.
Ugh.
And a fetch land. No thank you.
There is another Brainstorm among the holdings. Once you're starting the turn with 2 lands, making your 3rd land drop in Brainstorming, you're pretty well favored to combo from there.
But you have to win next turn.
Yes, you do have to win.
Caleb, I don't know. I think he has his ad nauseum.
He's giving it a think. It is harder to have a clean win if you're comboing with Lion's Eye Diamond because you can't set up a Past in Flames win. You do need actual rituals to do that. But something as simple as Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, that's going to be enough mana for your Past in Flames actual wins. The ad nauseum wins can be a little bit more dicey. He is at 15. When you hit some of your higher mana spells with that, say your Dark Petition, and you just hit a bunch of cantrips, you can still lose if you're going off with ad nauseum.
Lion's Eye Diamond from Caleb.
Now we'll find out.
Pass, yeah.
You just play that one against discard decks sometimes because you don't want to be duressed. But a little troublesome for Caleb that it wasn't followed by a combo.
Dark Depths Hex Mage says go. There are ice counters on the Dark Depths, just because.
Yeah.
Just because he didn't put the dice there doesn't mean they're not there. Like, oh, I missed the trigger. I guess I get. Not how it works. Caleb starts with Brainstorm. There's that ad nauseum he knows about. Past in Flames. And a fetch land. Okay, that's...
The combination of ad nauseum and Past in Flames in your hand
Caleb
is very
can't do it. He picks him up. And
I
Ryan,
am stuck on that therapy. Ugh, he could have broken up half that combo.
He left Bobby with a hand he couldn't beat, and he knew it.
Yep.
And that's a misstep. So Bobby is going to get game number 1 over Caleb. Fortunately, he's got some... he's got his teammates here, and this is still a great matchup. But he can't lose this matchup. Not with the way things are going to play out on that modern table.
Yeah, it's an uphill battle for Paul. Maybe Paul can win, but Caleb really should be winning this matchup.
All right, we're going to look at their sideboards when we come back in just a minute. So welcome back here, round number 6, Battle of Undefeated Teams. A surprise loss game 1 for Caleb Scherer. Means he'll have to recover in the post-board games. Now, however, during that break, Julian John, his teammate with Red Black Aggro, does win game 1. Let's look over the sideboards, though, Ryan. So for Bobby's side, this is a matchup where you figure most hands Bobby will be the slower of the 2 decks. So he's going to have to do something. And you see his sideboard is set up for that. 3 Abrupt Decay, 3 Sphere of Resistance, 2 Surgical Extraction, 2 more Safekeepers, 2 Rite of Consumption, Mistress Factory, Bitter Blossom, and Ground Seal.
The big hits here are the 3 Sphere of Resistance. It's a lot harder for Storm to combo through this. You can still do it, but it becomes a lot harder. The other card that's interesting is Rite of Consumption. If the mana lines up, you don't actually have to attack with your Merit Lage if you have Rite.
Your turn faster, perhaps.
Right. And then Surgical is like really, really, really bad against Storm, but sometimes you make them discard a card and you can Surgical a card that's still in their hand.
Yeah, it depends what he's boarding out.
Right. And honestly, this deck doesn't have a ton to board out. I would much rather have a discard spelled, obviously, and most of the other card just facilitates a combo.
How's Pithing Needle in the matchup?
Not
Bobby's
great.
Going to 6.
Yeah, we're going to cut that one, but you know you already have the spheres, and probably right at consumption over Surgical.
I guess, so for me, is if Surgical might come in, so I see 4 Needles and 2 Safekeepers to get rid of. 3 Spheres, 2 Rights in, maybe 1 Surgical in. I think it's better than all those cards.
Yeah, it's reasonable.
It's not good.
Yeah.
If the point is that it's not good, I think I agree.
Right. The scary graveyard interaction that the Turbo Dex actually has is the Rejuka Bog. If they can proper take that out, it can make your Cabal Rituals a lot worse. But yeah, the Surgical is like not great. Anyway, on Caleb's side, it's going to be very light sideboarding here. He has a main deck empty. It's quite bad in the matchup. Anytime your opponent's trying to combo you in any way.
Yeah, empty wins over like 2 turns, 3 turns.
Right. Yeah, empty is good in matchups where you can cast it for like 8 or 10 or turn 1, and it's very good. And this kind of is not one of those matchups. And he also has a Rain of Filth, which is similarly slow. So I kind of want to get off that stuff. And then we have some Chain of Vapors that can bounce Merit Lage. They can also deal with Sphere of Resistance, so that stuff's quite good.
How about Chromox?
I hate it a lot. I mean, Caleb is a fan of them in matchups that are particularly fast. I don't think that Turbo Dex is fast enough.
Okay.
It's more for like the Sneak and Show matchup or Death and Taxes.
Or the Mirror.
Yeah.
Turn 1. Okay.
This looks like a turn 1.
Are we going to get one of these? Storm counter up. All right. How fun is it when you're Caleb? You look at your 7, you say keep, and your opponent's starting to mull to 6, and you're just looking. You're thinking you're just like, We're wasting time, but you don't know it.
Right.
Okay, so Storm is at 2. Are we going to get a turn 1 kill? Let's look. Chrome Mox, he has brought them in. Storm's up to 3. Imprints Brainstorm. If he's imprinting Brainstorm, you should be concerned. LED Storm to 4. Last card is Ad Nauseam? Ad Nauseam?
I would assume.
Blue, black. Oh, Infernal Tutor. Yeah, it's Ad Nauseam. With it on the stack, sacrifices.
Yep,
Lion's Eye Diamond.
He's Ad Nauseam, and he has 1 up. And also because he's boarded in the Chrome Mox, he has way more hits. Or I guess 2 more hits now. He can actually just make more mana easier.
Oh, this is great. This is some good magic.
This is also just a matchup where you can, if your Ad Nauseam goes really badly, Caleb can use this to like draw 15 cards or whatever. And if he ends up at 5 and has to stop, then he just discards the 7 that combos the next turn.
Ad Nauseam, spell 6. Oh, he does not need much.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's going.
Just pushes his hand to the side.
Yeah, he's going to need to make 3 more mana. So a Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal, another Chrome Mox, get him off the ground, and then 1 other mana accelerant that makes more than 1.
I just say out loud.
Tendrils.
You could have done this while I was mulliganing to save everyone time. 17. There's his first mana. It's a Mox down to 16.
Yep.
15.
So he has the requisite
13,
mana if he finds Tendrils.
12.
And
there's
it is.
Tendrils.
This is lethal.
Because the Chrome Mox, the Dark Ritual, and the Cabal Ritual. Yep, we did it.
But
okay, here's more.
He has life to play with, so whatever.
Just in case, I like that actually. Just in case you miscount. It's down to 6, and yeah, explains what he's about to do. Cast 3 more spells. Cast Tendrils.
Too easy, quite frankly. And we'll be checking out a game 3 here. You did see Caleb with Echoing Truth there. It both is a counter to Bobby's combo and Bobby's counter combo because it bounces Sphere Resistance. This is why I was saying this matchup is so good.
He should board in his Force of Wills. All right, we're going to zoom over to the standard game here. Julian, John, and Scott McNamara. We're going to take a look in on this one.
All right.
Red Black aggro. All the players sideboard here. We're going to get a game of this one, see if Julian can close out. He's going to Doom Fall here on turn 3 against the control deck, and he sees no 3rd land, Ryan.
Yeah, that makes it so the Doomfall decision's not terribly interesting, but it looks good for Julian. We'll say that much. The Inventor's Apprentice, there are only 1/2s until another artifact shows up here. So the clock is a little anemic for Julian, but unless Scott can produce some lands, he's in all kinds of trouble.
Blink of an eye. It's a Dominaria card, but might get exiled here. It's so what? You don't have to play as though Scott. Basically, if Scott top decks an island, which one do you want? Is that what you're thinking of here?
Yeah. The redundant disallow, it's usually the case that you're just never going to take a card if they have 2 copies of it, unless it's insanely good, which disallow is not. The card that's most concerning is actually the Lyra Dawnbringer.
Because you still can't beat it?
But the only card that's castable is Blink of an Eye. So it's between those 2 cards. You can probably beat Blink of an Eye, but it's fine to take it. You're just going to be able to win faster, especially if things don't shape up for Scott.
So what the nightmare for Julian would be if Scott's top 3 cards are all lands and the first one's an island.
Yep.
He has to make sure he wins even if that happens. Because he doesn't have a good clock going yet.
I don't know. It looks like there was perhaps some mulliganing happening here for Julian because he only has 2 cards left over.
Blink of an Eye, the reprint of Into the Royal.
Yeah.
Functional reprint.
Had to change the name because there's no Royal on Dominaria.
All right, and there's Glacial Fortress from Scott. So 2 disallows are now up. Go back over to Julian. Scrappy, I love this. Scrap Heap Scrounger. Yeah, he'll disallow. Swings for 2. Scott to 15, but that's fine. Scrounger doesn't mind being there anyway. And another land from Scott. Okay.
And Julian being
Hold on.
Julian being rewarded for taking Lyra.
Yeah.
So that Blink of an Eye is looking to draw a card here.
Heart of Kiran.
Well, that one's worth a disallow. I would expect
right.
Scott to pull the trigger on that.
He did not.
Okay, well, you can just draw the card with
Swings
the
for
Blink of an
4.
Eye, I suppose.
Yeah, he's an Into the Royal with kicker. Or Blink of an Eye with kicker. Now I call it that. So we are going to go back over to our legacy match. What looks to be a runaway for Julian might actually be interesting. We'll keep an eye on that one as it develops. But we want the conclusion of our match here between Bobby Reger and Caleb Scherer. Bobby's on the play this time. Both players have kept on 7. And let's go. Verdant Catacombs from Bobby.
He wants to be casting a Duress or a Thoughtseize here.
Yeah, that would be great. He's just not, as Game 2 showed us, if they just race and see who wins first, Bobby loses that often. And so we're going to look at the Duress. We see from Caleb a no-lander, 2 Lion's Eye Diamonds, Chrome Mox, those are his mana sources. He has Ponder, Brainstorm as cantrips, and then 2 bounce spells, Hercules, Recall, and Echoing Truth. Ryan, I think Bobby can beat this hand.
Yeah, I'm not loving the 7 cards. For a couple reasons, it already feels like a mulligan. You have redundant bounce spells. Obviously, Hercules can't deal with Merit Lage, but they're answers to...
Yeah.
Well, actually, as an answer to Sphere Resistance with this hand, these bounce spells are terrible because Caleb's not making land drops.
Right, so the thing is that Caleb had kept this hand, I think, on the mindset that one of these 2 bounce spells is under the Chrome Mox.
Sure.
Now, when Chrome Mox is gone, this hand is terrible. Caleb needs to top deck a land right now.
The hand does nothing when the Chromax is gone. You can make the argument that it's bad even if it's there.
Okay, Gitaxian Probe, Caleb at 18. Can he draw the land? And we see Crop Rotation, Hex Mage, Sphere of Resistance, Stage Depths. Oh my, this hand's good.
This is an excellent hand.
Yeah. It's got a fast combo. It's got the sideboard card. Caleb's going to draw. He needs this to be a land. It's Chrome Mox. All right.
Okay.
Kind of. Yeah, I can see it.
You can start pondering. Interesting question on Hercules versus Echoing Truth. I suppose there's only going to be the 1 Sphere of Resistance, so it may as well be the Hercules.
Yep.
And you might have to bounce Merit Lage.
See which one Bobby plays on turn 2. So now he'll cast Ponder. Caleb going to look for a land.
So an interesting option Caleb had available was to ponder, like cast the both Lion's Eye Diamonds and then ponder and just hope for the best, and he actually would have won the game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There's an ad nauseum in the top 3.
So, okay, if you do that, you'd have 6 mana. You'd need it to be just ad nauseum because you don't have enough mana for Infernal Tutor to actually do it.
Right. Yeah, you couldn't Infernal Tutor for anything meaningful.
That's really aggressive.
But, like, you look at that hand and you're like, okay, I need a Hail Mary, and sometimes you do make these plays. And this might have been one of those games.
That'd be a one-outer. Yeah, I see. I mean, you're not wrong. And he does actually hit the land after the shuffle on the ponder. So now LED, Swamp.
Well, those ones are just being
Pass.
cast so that you don't have to play them into the sphere of resistance.
Yep. And here's Thespian Stage from Bobby. Can't go turn 2 Hexmage. He didn't start on Urborg, so he'll cast Sphere of Resistance. He's gonna play the defensive role.
I mean, that makes sense. The
Yeah.
combo's not fast enough. There's 2 lines on diamonds already.
Does he have a third land that makes mana though to cast the Hexmage? Because
Yeah, I
his
think
third
he
land's
has,
Dark Depths.
yeah, he just has Dark Depths otherwise.
He's drawn a card sense, so maybe.
Sure. But getting the sphere down is definitely very good.
I guess he can always make Merit Lage just using the stage. And we'll see Brainstorm paying 2 for Caleb. Finds Infernal Tutor. Looks like a Cabal Ritual, a Chain of Vapor.
This hand really needs a third land. So you're getting to the...
So that he can bounce the sphere on end step?
Yeah, just so you can cast any of these 2-mana spells. You're getting into the territory where, obviously, if you bounce the sphere, comboing is very easy. You're already set up with the 2 Lion's Eye Diamonds with Infernal Tutor. Pretty easy to close from there. You can tutor for your Ad Nauseam, or potentially, I guess this hand probably does not have a Pass in Flames kill. I think it's just the Cabal Ritual for actual instants and sorceries. But once you start casting spells and resolving them when you have Lion's Eye Diamond and Cabal Ritual with Threshold, you can actually combo through Sphere of Resistance sometimes.
Dark Depths from Bobby, 10 counters. But he's also Brainstorm locked now.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't hit the land, and he's not going to hit the land.
Right. Yeah, it's a really rough spot now. Bobby currently can't make the mana to make the Merit Lage.
And just pass.
There's a crop rotation available. You could rotate one of your lands into another black source.
How about into an Urborg?
Yep. Urborg gives you more mana for sure. And then you can cast the Hexmage with these 3 lands.
Exactly. Now, Caleb does have that Chain of Vapor, 1 down, so when Bobby does this, Caleb actually does have an answer. So we might actually be in for a longer game here. Players answer each other's spells. Draws another Hexmage. Yeah. Tap 3, make a Hexmage. Got 2 crop rotations, 2 Hexmages. No reason not to make the Hexmage here, right?
Yeah, you don't have any green mana to crop rotate even if you want to do that.
Yeah.
It's pretty much what you're locked into doing, but I think he's past the turn.
Okay.
Well, this game's over.
Caleb's going to Chain of Vapor, bounce the sphere on end step.
Bobby can sacrifice a land to bounce the Chrome Mox, but that's unlikely to amount to anything.
And over in the standard match, that game we'd seen, Scott started to recover, but it was not enough. Julian John did close, so 2-0. We might be seeing the end of the round here.
Yeah, I guess the reason you don't cast the Hexmage is because you can already use the Thespian Stage, so it doesn't really matter if you cast it or not.
Sure. So now back to Caleb's turn here, and the Storm counters come out. Here's Cabal Ritual.
I mean, yeah, we've seen in Infernal Tutor, there's the 2 Lion's Eye Diamonds already on the battlefield.
Yeah, that's a lot of mana. Spends 2 black, casts Infernal Tutor, floating 1 on, so he'll float a black, crack both Lion's Eye Diamonds. See what colors he wants. First one is going to be black, up to 4. Second one, more black mana, maybe something else. We'll see.
You make a lot of black mana on your combo turn. Yeah, so
Yeah,
once you make blue, this is definitely Ad Nauseam from here. And he has not made a land drop on this turn, so he has 2 mana left over plus a land drop. Really easy to combo from here.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and cast Ad Nauseam. He's floating 2 in Ad Nauseam. Yeah, he just only gets 1 of each, right? Yeah, and this is his 3rd spell of the turn.
And from 18, it's really hard to imagine Caleb losing the game. this ad nauseum should be good enough. Well, these are the kind of hits that are a bad start. Echoing Truth, not doing anything. The Lotus Petal is fine. That increases the mana.
All right, Caleb down to 15, down to 13. 12, not there yet. 10. More land. 9. 5.
Okay.
For Tendrils.
So Storm's at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
He has to get it all the way to 10.
Does he? He has Threshold now, right? He's gotta.
Yes.
So yeah, he can make a land drop. He has the Lotus Petals. He's supposed to have 4 mana.
Yep.
You have enough from there where you
Yes.
can Infernal Tutor for a second Cabal Ritual. So you have a lot of mana to play with. You don't necessarily want to tutor for that. You kind of want to use your blue mana.
Caleb down to 3 to cast Gataxian Probe, 5th spell of the turn.
And he's definitely stopping there because if he hits Dark Petition from 5, he just loses.
Oh, yeah, he's already stopped.
Yep. Yeah, that's why he
Oh,
stopped.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
He has a 5 in the deck.
Yep.
So looks at the hand, gets to draw off Gataxian Probe. Before he does that, hold him. He hasn't drawn off Probe. Hold him. Hold him.
Yeah, I don't believe Caleb had drawn off of his probe.
Yes, he did not. So he's backing up. Before that Ponder resolves, he has to draw off Gataxian Probe. He has to
Yeah.
finish resolving the spell.
It's not like a trigger. You can't partially resolve your
All right.
spells.
Now he can cast Ponder.
Okay, there's a
There's
Chromox
some
and a Dark
mana.
Ritual.
Yeah.
This is easy from here.
Paul also won game 1 in his Storm match.
That was a long affair.
Yep. Spell 8 is another Cabal Ritual. Lotus Petals, spell 9.
And Tendrils is
Tendrils
already there.
already there. That's spell 10. And Caleb is going to get it. So, wins across the board. And for the Storm team, they are still in first and winning more. 6-0, top of the standings.
And Reger presented a pretty reasonable hand there. He had the Sphere, he had set up the combo, but the matchup
Yeah.
is just so hard because your countered with Storm